Hey, it's Pastor Sam, and I want to share with you the vision of All People's Church. When we say vision, we're basically saying what is our dream, or what is ultimately a win for us. If we look a couple years down the line, what would be success for us? What do we want to ultimately see? So this is the vision of All People's Church, and our vision is to be a church of all peoples where every member enjoys a vibrant relationship with Jesus, intimately belongs to the family, and joins in the mission of making disciples of all peoples, resulting in new disciples, new churches, and the good of the cities here and beyond. Okay, so that's a mouthful, and I know there's a lot of things, but we're going to unpack every little piece. And ultimately, I need this to be said. This is not our own vision. We're expressing and we're articulating this vision a certain way with this definition, but ultimately this is God's global purposes that we're trying to sync with. One day, there's going to be a day where everyone will know Jesus. There would be Jesus's glory will cover the whole earth like water covers a sea, which is completely, and there's just this picture that one day, no more sickness, no more pain, no more hurt. And ultimately that will come when Jesus returns and makes all things new and renews this earth and judges sin and Satan and death. But until that day comes, we want to play our part in his global vision. And so our mission, first of all, we want to be a church of all peoples. When we think about the end times, one of the most beautiful pictures about the end times is this idea where all people from every people, every tribe, every tongue, every nation will come to Jesus. And so one day we're going to look around and we're going to see all of these people from all these different backgrounds and all these different nations worshiping Jesus. And so we want to reflect what's happening right now in heaven and what will ultimately happen in the end of days. We want that now. So we want our church to be a sign, a foretaste of that future reality. So we want to be a church of all peoples, hence our name, All People's Church. So All People's Church, where every member, now I'm going to stress that real quick. That word every is huge. Every member does these three things, okay? First, we want every member to enjoy a vibrant relationship with Jesus. This is so crucial because before we go to talk about mission and all these other things, if we don't have a relationship with Jesus where we're enjoying him and growing near to him, we have nothing. And so our call is, and our desire is to love God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength, which is our mission. That's our great commandment Jesus has given us, to love him supremely above all things. And so first and foremost, we want every member to enjoy it. So everything we do is going to be to that end, for every member to have that flourishing relationship with Jesus. And out of overflow of that relationship with Jesus, we want every member to intimately belong to the family. It's really important. This word family, we're not just using that word as a buzzword, but that we truly would belong, every member. Whether you're the one who's popular or unpopular, whether you're old or young, no matter what spectrum you are in society or however culture would identify you or label you, you belong. If you are a son or daughter of God, if you trusted in Jesus, you are part of the family. You are adopted. You are an heir. You're an heir. And so as a family, we want to intimately know, and that word intimate is important, that we want to be fully known, yet fully loved. That there's going to be an intimacy that's going to be painful at times, but healing. And the beautiful thing is that the wounds that most of us have, our deepest wounds, were created by people. And the only way to be fully healed is by people. And so we want to be a community where we find healing and wholeness and love, where every single person belongs, where we're all a big family because of Jesus. And third, we want every member to join in the mission of making disciples of all peoples. This is so important. Something that we believe has been lost is this idea that theologians call the priesthood of all believers. In other words, that all of us are called to be on mission. All of us are given a ministry. If you look at Ephesians chapter 4, one of the primary jobs of a pastor is to help equip for other Christians to do the work of ministry. Not for everyone to come just see me use my gift, but for me to help you use your gift. And so every member joining, and the reason why we want to say join is because this is a mission that has taken place before we were born. We want to join along with this great mission where Jesus is making disciples of all nations, all peoples. And one reason why we also say join instead of just simply make disciples is because we believe that making disciples doesn't look like what I think a lot of people would think. It's coming alongside. It's just, when you look at the New Testament, making disciples is often as they're just going. As Jesus is walking along and talking and things come up and they talk about it and activities are doing, they're serving together, they're doing ministries together. And so every single member of All People's Church can help others become more like Jesus, become disciples and to make disciples. And it doesn't look like everyone sitting down in a circle, sitting around the sage. This sage who just has all this wisdom, but this idea that all of us are going to help each other become more like Jesus, that you are going to help me become more like Jesus in a way that this other person wouldn't, and vice versa. And so we all together corporately work together to help each other become more like Jesus, and together then we make disciples. Now, these three components, we believe if every member is enjoying Jesus in a relationship, and every member is belonging to this family, and every member is joining in the mission, every member, not just the pastors, but every member. I'm going to keep harping on that. We believe that if these three things are going to happen, by the grace of God, by the Holy Spirit, we believe that we will see new Christians or new disciples. We're going to see new churches, and we're going to see these churches here and abroad that will ultimately be the good for the cities. Okay, so let me just unpack that really quickly. Now, every single, we believe that when these things are happening, that will ultimately catalyze into seeing many, many people come to Jesus. If all these three things are firing in all cylinders, we believe we're going to see more baptisms, and we're going to see people who are not following Jesus right now, who don't know Jesus, they're going to know Jesus. We also believe that one of the most primary ways to see people come to Jesus is new churches. And so we believe that doing these things and with the structure that we have in place, in the vision and the strategy we have in place, we're going to plant more churches. Not only here, but abroad into places where they're the unreached people and the unengaged peoples of the earth. And finally, we believe that if we're following Jesus and being the salt and light that Jesus has called us to be, that we will leave this city better than when we found it. That we so desire to be a kind of church that if we were to disappear overnight, if there was a rapture and for us to be gone, that the whole neighborhood would feel our absence because we are so good for the neighborhood. They may even say to themselves, I don't believe in that whole Jesus stuff. I don't even believe in what they do, but I really appreciate them. This neighborhood would be nothing without them. And so we want to be salt and light. We want to seek the good of the cities. And so that is the vision. There's a lot there, but it all comes down to a people together who are enjoying Jesus individually and together as a group, as a family, and all together working and playing their individual roles and their individual gifts the way God has wired them together, working together on mission. And so that is the dream, that's the vision of All People's Church.